What's up, guys? It's KB. Make sure you subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Click the bell icon down below so you don't miss a single video from us. And thanks for tuning in to another video from Underground Sports Philadelphia. Now let's get into it.
Philadelphia, baby, you're gonna love it. Best sports fans in the world. Actually, the worst, but that's what makes them the best.
Go ahead.
I already did.
I'm not watching the game on ESPN on ABC. I'm watching the game on ESPN.
Are they the Manning cast or no?
Oh, they might have a Manning cast tonight. No, I thought that was. No, that's not Thursday night. That might be tonight.
No, it's actually Monday nights.
Well, yeah, you might be
It's
able to watch
normally
the Manning
Monday
cast
night.
tonight.
I don't know if I would want to watch the Manning cast while the Eagles are playing because they're kind of distracting. Not to hate on the Manning cast.
Any despair?
I don't think we're going to have despair. It's Baker Mayfield.
He's pretty good this year, and I don't fully trust the Eagles as of yet.
Did you see? Welcome to the podcast, everyone. We'll be right with you. Please bear with us. Did you see the family that tweeted that every time they're Dolphins fans and every time the Dolphins score a touchdown, it's like a family tradition, they take a shot?
Yes. Yeah.
Someone retweeted the picture after yesterday's game and said, "Okay, I need to see the after picture."
Yeah, they needed to take an after picture of that.
Someone was like, I looked, they were like, "We're highly regretting this family tradition."
There is
Hello,
no Manning
everyone.
cast tonight.
Oh, there isn't?
No, I just.
Why? 'Cause there's 2 games?
I guess, yeah. But once bye weeks start coming into play and everything, the 2 games on a Monday night will go away.
I'll say I don't ever remember there being 2 games.
Yeah. Once the bye weeks start hitting. Hello, everyone.
Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 30. Woohoo!
30 episodes. Wow, 30 episodes.
Dirty 30 of F1 Underground. Covering all things Formula 1, as always.
I don't know what I was going to say, so you can.
I was waiting for you.
I had a very big brain fart.
As you all know, my name is Casey, and that is my brother Owen. We're no longer in the basement. We've graduated. We are going to do our normal meme of the week, or as I always have, memes of the week. And then we're just going to we're going to recap Japan. Because it was an entertaining race, I have to say. It was a very entertaining race.
It was a very entertaining race.
But yes, so we're just gonna do that today, and then we'll be back next week to recap or preview Qatar and what starts the stretch of races that are in the afternoon for us here in the U.S.
Time for us.
Oh, I have to say, 1 a.m. was not awful. It was okay.
No, by the end I was struggling though.
Yeah, by the end I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I wanted to see, I was like, I'm not going to watch the trophies, the podium ceremony if Max wins or not. But then I saw how cool the trophy was, and I was like, okay, I want to see how the trophy works. I can't go to see.
Yeah.
But literally, I think they sprayed champagne, and I was like, good night, and went to bed.
You even beat me. I think I watched McLaren pull up to the 2 and 3 spot, in the paddock, and I said, okay, good night.
Good night. Yeah.
I was like, going to bed.
Yeah, I was like, I gotta go to sleep. But yes, so before we get started, I would just like to take this time for Fernando Alonso because Taylor Swift has moved on.
Oh yes.
Taylor Swift has moved on for the rumors that were literally started out of nowhere with Fernando Alonso.
They really did start out of nowhere.
And that's how I know they were really started out of nowhere, because she never showed up to an F1 race. But she showed up to the Kansas City Chiefs game yesterday.
Yes, she
and
did.
As we all know, we're both wearing Eagle stuff. Philadelphia sports fans. I'm a Taylor Swift fan. Watching her cheer for those Chiefs was a little...
It's tough to watch.
It was a little... I mean, I posted multiple places that Donna Kelsey needs to get her one of those split Eagle Chiefs jerseys because she's in the same boat. So, I'd like to know how her dad, the Eagles fan, feels. But it's fine. Move your phone away.
Sorry.
It was making that noise. But But yes, I just wanted to take some time for Fernando Alonso. I hope you're okay, Fernando. Hope you can move on.
We just
If
need
you can find
the
someone
Aston
now.
Martin social media team to jump on the trend again, and
No, it's not even Aston Martin. It's Fernando Alonso's.
we're having a special guest. Hold on.
Angela!
She has to get her backpack.
Oh, everyone, that's Angela!
Hello, world.
Hello, world. Yes, we broadcast to the entire world.
Yes. Goodbye, have fun at work!
Bye. Have a good night at work. Can you shut the door, please?
Bye, world.
Bye.
I'm clipping that one. I hope she knows.
Nice. That was good. Turned around at one point. I was like, shit, that's her backpack.
Her backpack. But yes, we will get started with our meme of the week, or as I always have multiple.
I have
Do you
one.
want me to go first?
No.
Okay, I have two. You know about one, but our podcast is
Correct.
back, so I gotta show the podcast picture. Because I'm pretty sure the podcast picture, I screenshotted Lando's tweet with Oscar's reply.
Oh,
So,
that podcast. I thought you were talking
Yes.
about something. I was like, we didn't take
No.
a break. Like,
no, Master Stappin's podcast. That he doesn't even like podcasts, so.
Yeah,
There's
what a
also
weird
that.
one for that. Who doesn't
Like,
like podcasts?
come- Also, someone that, travels the world every weekend. What do you listen to when you're on the plane? Nothing?
I mean, he's probably got a loaded playlist full of music.
Music?
from
What
all
do you
over the
think?
world that-
I'll say, what do you think Max Verstappen listens to?
That'd be
Before
a
we get
good
into
question.
it,
Can we tweet at the Red Bull? You know what?
I'll say you have access.
I'm
What?
sending the tweet. I'm sending the tweet and just be like, can you please tell us what Max Verstappen listens to?
Since he
during
doesn't listen to
his-
the podcast, what does Max Verstappen listen to? He doesn't strike me as someone that's classical music. That's Charlotte Claire and Charlotte Claire only. I have a feeling on the grid. He doesn't strike me as someone that listens to hardcore rap.
No, I don't. No, I don't think so.
It's not like he's a country fan.
If he's a country fan, I'll be really upset.
I'll say you're gonna lose
really upset with that.
You're gonna lose a notch of respect for him. He's a country fan. Sorry to any country fans out there. Owen's not a country fan.
Boo.
Hate to break it to you. While Owen's busy tweeting.
All right, I just posted it. I'd be amazed if we get an answer, but that would be
Could you imagine if we got an answer while we're recording?
that'd be so good. That'd be like a breaking news type situation.
They're probably. I saw videos of Red Bull celebrating after yesterday. They might be all a little hungover. So
Oh yeah. All the way
okay.
over and just staring at their phones. So who knows? We might get an answer.
okay. So I'm gonna put Owen first, as always. Okay.
Oh, perfect. Okay. This picture just goes so well with the season in general, and we'll talk about this more when we talk about Red Bull and Constructors Championship. But obviously, the cake, it's a group photo of a team cutting a cake, and every person's labeled something different, and the cake is labeled Red Bull winning Constructor Championship. Every single person's hand is on the knife that's cutting the cake, except for the one guy that is labeled Sergio Perez. And it just makes so much sense for the season of just sure, he'll celebrate with them. He didn't do much to help.
He didn't do anything. No.
I'll give the man the credit. He had his 2 race wins in the beginning of the season. That
And then that was it.
definitely helped. Absolutely. But
Oh yeah.
we all know, every person knows who has watched this season to this point, that Max Verstappen put his team on his back and just carried them to this finish line.
He must have massive back pain. I literally tweeted when they won, I said Max Verstappen has single-handedly won the Constructors' Championship for Red Bull.
Well, because he has. I mean, he has to a degree.
Yes.
It was him who did it. He won it for them. And it's, like I said, you can give Perez a little bit of credit, It's not like he lost or DNF'd every race and they still won, but he got him points, but it certainly wasn't, to the level of racing or success that Max had this year. So that's
he wasn't winning with a 30-second gap. I also like that Christian Horner is not one of the people. It's Adrian Newey because he's the car whisperer, but no one else. Christian Horner is not there.
Not there, which is fine. I mean, there's people in here who get what they deserve. You know, you got the factory engineers, the race strategists, the pit crew. Like, those are the people that do need the recognition and deserve the recognition. You know, they make the car work for lack of a better term. But yeah,
Not you, Perez.
Not you, Perez. You certainly don't make the car work to its highest degree.
No. Okay, that was a good one. Okay, well, my first one also has to do with Perez and what was an episode of The Office. The video's a little blurry, so I apologize. I don't know why the quality lost. This is when Max Verstappen came in to do a pit lane. The camera crew, stellar work. Yep,
They knew exactly
he goes,
what they were doing on there.
Turns right to Checo sitting in the garage, sitting in his car. Like, it's not even. It's
I
not even like
this on the broadcast. And it
Go
was literally. I remember watching this on the broadcast, and it was Crofty. They're like, "Oh, here comes Max in for the pit stop," and they watch the pit stop, and he goes, "What a great pit stop!" And then the camera pans to Sergio, to Perez, and you just hear Crofty go, and there's Checo just chilling in his car.
It literally was an episode of The Office. Like, it's not even like it was a different camera angle and they just cut to it. It's just the same cameraman just swiveling.
That man saw an opportunity and let his
took it.
Thoughts win.
He did the funniest thing. He had the opportunity to do the funniest thing, and he did it.
And
it also cuts out a little bit, but they also like zoom in so you can see Checo sitting in the car still.
Yeah. It's so good.
So good. Most of the memes that I could have talked about today had to deal with Checo. Like, I'm sorry, but it had to deal with Checo. There was one, someone photoshopped him in a bumper car. Obviously, we'll get into it, but like, there was so much. And then I sent Owen this one earlier. A fan posted a picture that she got with Charles Leclerc, like, from Monza, obviously, you can tell by the hat, but people immediately were like, it's giving the burning house meme, and they automatically photoshopped it onto the picture. So it was perfect. I had to talk about it. Yeah, it's too good. It's Charles Leclerc. It's a metaphor for Charles Leclerc watching Carlos Sainz just lose his damn mind. So, because they're sad.
He is losing
his
goddamn
mind. And then obviously we mentioned this week's podcast had a new guest. With Oscar Piastri. He was the first time caller, long time listener. That was good.
He tweeted, first time caller, long time listener. Oh, that's so good.
He's not going to tweet that because he's not a Philadelphia sports radio caller.
That's not even a Philly sports radio thing. We can't even make claim to that. That is just.
I know.
Everywhere people say that. Hey man, first time caller, long time listener. You know, I just want to give my opinion on that Piastri guy. What a goon! Like,
Are you sure he's a rookie? But yes. So obviously, the best part about this is they're watching on the screen is when Checo bumps into K-Mag. That's what they're watching on the screen.
Golden.
So it's like a subtle nod at Checo, but the Photoshop, so good.
The Photoshop of the two mics for the McLaren boys and then the mic coming down from the ceiling for Verstappen is so good.
And it's the fact that they're all sitting in the right chairs this week. But so I always thought people were like, I think it's AI. I saw this the next morning. So clearly whoever did it was like maybe already asleep or was like, I'm going to sleep first and then let me wake up and do it. But yeah, so we have Lando tweeted best episode of the Max Verstappen podcast. And then Oscar replied, book me in for the next episode too.
Oh, I love it.
Which prompted the question. I think Lando might have said something here in the cooldown room, like about the podcast. And I think Oscar like raised his hand like, no, it's my first time. And then someone asked Max Verstappen in the post-race interview about the podcast, and that's where he said, I don't even like podcasts, which we've now shamed Max Verstappen for not listening to podcasts. I mean, come on, Max Verstappen. You're missing a great podcast to listen to right here.
You really are. You really are.
Like,
we went from Like, I loved you in the beginning of the season. You missed a whole lot of shit talking on you.
Yeah.
That's what you missed. I mean, it's a great show, though. Great show.
Have we ever actually shit talked on Max?
I think so. I
We've
have
might
questioned
have.
his character a couple times.
Yes, I would say we've
Yeah.
questioned his attitude once or
Yes.
twice.
Yes, that's a better way to put it.
Yeah, but yes.
Questioned
So,
his character and his attitude towards racing.
which we could talk about a lot of people's attitudes from this race this week.
Yes. Yes, we could. Yeah.
I want to know if Drive to Survive had a camera in every garage, because I think every team except for Haas were fighting. Like, the teammates. Williams really weren't fighting, but they both DNF'd. But, like, I think every team, they were angry at each other. So, yeah.
It was funny, too, because it was differing degrees of fighting, too. Because it was like, McLaren, they were letting them race, but it wasn't ever, like, animosity, like, in it.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas,
it was just
like,
Lando question.
Yeah, it was just Lando being like, what, like, what's happening here? Are we swapping? Or are we not swapping? You know, and then we have, like, and we'll touch on this, you know, like the Esteban and Pierre arguing. You have the Charles and Carlos stuff. You have Mercedes going back and forth. Like, so many teams were just pissed off with each other.
Yeah, that's what I was like. Netflix was probably like, we need someone in every garage now. We need a camera in every garage. Which I think I saw they were following Yuki for the whole weekend, which made sense. Hometown race. That was a good segue right into AlphaTauri.
Nice.
It's like taking a
30 episodes in, we're getting a little bit better at this.
We're getting a little bit.
We're getting a little bit better.
But yes, obviously we'll just go right into AlphaTauri. There was not a lot of weekly news, but the biggest piece of weekly news was the AlphaTauri drama with 3 capable drivers and 2 seats. So Red Bull did it right. AlphaTauri did it right. They announced Yuki's extension at his home race. Made sense. Made perfect sense. But he's confirmed for next year, 2024. I did see that apparently talks were kind of stalled with Red Bull and him. And then someone from Honda stepped in and got the deal done. So it will be interesting. It is interesting that it's for 1 more year, but it will be interesting where he goes when Honda's no longer in Red Bull. I think he'll be I think he goes to Aston Martin. If Honda gets their way, he goes to Aston Martin.
That's true. Yeah, that wouldn't be that would be a likely spot. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just based once I heard that how Honda helped him get the deal done, I was like, oh, okay. So they're going to help him get a deal done wherever they take him, because they're a huge supplier, big in Japan, and obviously that's where Yuki's from. And then the rumor is Daniel Ricciardo is going to be confirmed. They have not announced it yet. It's now, I think he might be questionable for Austin, so who knows when he's actually coming back. We get Liam Lawson for 1 more week, but then it should be Daniel Ricciardo again, Austin. But it should be confirmed, set in stone, that it will be Yuki and Daniel Ricciardo for next year, which leaves Liam Lawson, who I think was racing with a vengeance this weekend after hearing that news.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked.
Because he finished above Yuki, so he was like, haha. I mean, not by a lot, but still. He finished above Yuki, who's confirmed.
Yeah, you finish above Yuki when you're not even a full-time F1 driver yet. And Yuki has how many years under his belt? You know, it's a good sign for what's to come. And Lawson sounds like he's got some good things coming, you know. Yeah,
he finished 1 place ahead of Yuki, but still. 1 place.
Yeah, you're still ahead of him, you know.
Yeah, they were 11th and 12th. But yes, so obviously Lawson is without a seat, but they also came out today saying that, or they said this yesterday, he is at least guaranteed a Red Bull seat in 2025. That's in Red Bull and or AlphaTauri. So he is Red Bull's future. Would be interesting if they put him right in Red Bull with Max.
I would be surprised as that. I don't think that'll happen, but I would be it would be very interesting to see, obviously.
I mean, have they done that before? Did Alex Albon go right to Red Bull?
I think so.
And Pierre Gasly, I think. It's failed before, but I don't think it'll fail with Liam Lawson. I don't think it
No,
does.
I think he's a good enough driver that it
Yeah.
would be, if it was a failure, it would be less of a failure, you know?
Yeah. And maybe, I mean, it's Max has said multiple times he doesn't want to go. I think his contract's until like 2028. So who knows if he renews or if he goes out on top. So
Yeah.
then it's Liam Lawson. But yeah, he definitely. I'm trying to scroll down. Hold on. AlphaTauri is clearly. Yeah, they all say it says they're very aware of the public support for Lawson. That's why I got it. I was happy for Daniel Ricciardo, but Liam Lawson has performed. He's given you points. I know Daniel Ricciardo only had 2 races, but still.
Yeah.
He's done better in Daniel Ricciardo in those first 2 races than Daniel Ricciardo did in the 2 races that he had before he broke his hand. But yes, it will be interesting. Yeah, I don't know.
I understand why, though, that they would go with Daniel Ricciardo over Lawson. Of like, because to me, that's the whole thing. To me, that's like, you know, your veteran versus rookie. What are the risks there and everything? And it's like, sure, Lawson won't be that much of a rookie anymore since he has some experience driving, and even though technically he will be a rookie, but I understand.
I think they'll classify him like Nick DeVries. Nick DeVries, they kept calling like a different kind of rookie at the beginning of the year because he raced that one race last year.
Right. Well, you have some experience. You've done it before, you know.
And I knew going into the weekend, I knew Lawson had probably a good chance to perform well because they said how much experience he has on that track. Unlike Oscar Piastri, because Liam Lawson Super Formula is mostly based in the Asia countries, like China and Japan and stuff, so he's used to racing on that track. He's done testing on that track. He gets it. So yeah, I was expecting him to do well, and he did. So, but I've also seen people, I think I might have posted this too, AlphaTauri is supposed to be like the Phantoms to the Flyers. It's the junior team. So it's giving those the young ones, the rookies, a chance to get their foot in the door. Right. Not Daniel Ricciardo, who's coming back. I'm trying to
That's I get what you're saying. It's meant for Liam Lawson and meant for Nick DeVries and meant for Yuki Tsunoda when he joined and everything. Like
it was meant for Pierre Gasly and Alex Albon.
Yeah. Get your feet wet before you go to, you know, team like Ferrari, a team like Red Bull, a team like Mercedes, you know, stuff like that. Like, I get it.
I think Max Verstappen, oh no, he was in Toro Rosso. That's what I'm saying. He did the junior team. Charles Leclerc did Sauber before he moved up to Ferrari. So I guess that's what it's there for. Unless they really want Daniel Ricciardo back in Red Bull, but I don't know if that's happening. Especially with his breaking his hand, but who knows? I'm trying to think. They were nothing else really about them during the race. I don't think. They didn't really. Besides where Lawson finished, they looked fine the whole weekend. They didn't look.
Yeah, I think they looked all right.
Where did they? Because I think. Hold on.
I didn't really notice them.
9, 10. Oh, I know. Yuki was into Q3. Yuki was into Q3. That was a big story that he went at his home race. He was able to get through to Q3.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah. I did love with Yuki though. Apparently they let him address the home crowd. And did you see that picture? He's up on the stage and it's his F1 intro in the back. And it says I'm cool. Back or I'm here to stay. But they got he got to speak in Japanese for the whole crowd, to address them because there were a lot of people there in AlphaTauri stuff for Yuki Tsunoda. Obviously, but then they panned the camera down and Alex Albon was watching Yuki give the address. I was like, okay, that's adorable. He's supporting him. And then the one lady on Sky Sports, I can't think of her name. She hugged him and she was like, we really appreciate you. I was like, everyone's a Yuki Tsunoda fan.
Everybody
Like,
just loves
everyone
Yuki Tsunoda.
loves Yuki Tsunoda, yeah. But as Alex Albon said in a recent interview, Yuki's in F1 so he can open up a Michelin star restaurant at some point. Not to be a world champion, so he can open up a restaurant.
Go work, Yuki. I mean, hey, you got to have your
His
means
dream
to an
somewhere.
end. That's just
People said it's
insane
correct.
means to the end. Yeah.
He's just getting a big fat paycheck. And Gordon Ramsay's in the paddock all the time. He has connections.
Just chatting them up.
Mm-hmm.
Every single time Gordon's there, Yuki's running to him. Yeah,
I think he actually can cook too, so we'll see.
Good for him.
But yes, that was AlphaTauri. Obviously we can talk about Red Bull and your faves at the end.
Yeah. Leave the best for last.
But yes, I mean, obviously, no, I was just going to Checo, but you can't. We'll go to Williams. Williams, they didn't have anything great to talk about. Obviously, Logan Sargent crashed again in qualifying, which led to a lot of penalties before the race started. So I saw, where is it? So before the race started, it was noted that he was starting from the pit lane because obviously they broke the curfew fixing the car, which made sense.
Right.
But literally it says the Williams plan set up, the team expects it'll be fine to get the job done in time, but admits it is tight as most parts needed to be replaced. That's how bad he damaged the car. Yeah. So they broke curfew and probably started working early. But then it came out, this is Chris Medlin. He's a great F1 journalist to follow. He always has good stuff. He posted, at least he should, this is like, if there could be a penalty, but it says at least you should, there could be a big penalty coming as the FIA technical delegate says Williams has already prepared the spare chassis to more than just a survival cell, and this has to be considered as a third car available to the competitor. So because of the work they did, it was actually a third car. It says told not disqualifying worthy, but depending on how far the team went, it could range from a reprimand to a drive-through or even a 10-second stop and go. And if there's a fair explanation, then no further action. But to set a precedent could be a sporting penalty because he said it's fairly new, this delegate. But then it came out that he had a 10-second penalty. So he started the race from the pit lane and then immediately took a pit stop and had a 10-second stop and go pits. And then DNF'd.
and then DNF. So the penalty and everything didn't matter.
Yeah. I don't even know if he actually did he take the penalty? I don't even think he took the penalty because he pitted during the safety car. But I don't think he stopped.
Did he?
So obviously we'll talk about Checo later on. But what we've heard with Checo serving the penalty going back out is because he could get a penalty for the next race. So if he didn't serve the 10-second penalty, and then he got a 5-second penalty on top of it, Logan Sargent, for an incident, he could, if he didn't serve them correctly, he could start Qatar with a penalty. The poor kid.
Yeah, this might be a dumb question, but if he started in the pit lane, right, and you have a 10-second penalty, what could you just wait in the pit lane for 10 seconds?
I don't think so because you have to. Because I think when they start from the pit lane, they start from the end of the pit lane, like where they wait to go out for each practice.
Williams is all the way at the end, though.
Yeah, but I think they have to pull in like they're making a pit stop, and then they have to work on the car and then let him through.
Oh, okay.
So he has to do a full pit stop. Yeah, you can't. I mean, that would be easiest if they could just start with a 10-second penalty and just wait
I feel like that would be so much easier of just like, hey, I got to start in the pit lane. Oh, I already have this 10-second penalty. Let me just wait 10 seconds when the light goes green, and then I'll go.
Yeah.
You know.
Wait, I forgot what he got a 5-second penalty for.
I'm blanking on that too, actually. I watched this race, but I don't remember much from it.
Because there was so much that happened in the first 10 laps.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, this kind of goes, he got the 5-second penalty for locking up and hitting Valtteri Bottas.
Oh, that's right. I do remember
which
that now,
caused
actually. Yeah.
him to. So he might not have done the 5-second penalty because he locked up and hit Bottas, and then retired with floor damage and front wing damage. So he might
Yeah.
not have served that 5-second
I
penalty.
don't think he served that then. He might get a grid place penalty at the start of Qatar. Interesting.
Yes. But then his teammate also DNF'd.
That was heartbreaking for me to see.
I know, because that one is doing so well. So
Yeah,
well.
I really when Crofty and everybody else started like saying like, "Oh, we have another car stopped," or no, he didn't stop on the track. He just went into the pits and retired, right?
That was the thing. Every time someone retired, they went into the pit lane and never came back out. So every time there was a pit stop, I was like, are they coming back out or not? Like, I'm just assuming they're retiring.
Yeah, that was tough to hear that Alex Albon was retiring, because it was just like he's been doing so good.
So well. And that special livery, man.
Yeah.
There's a curse for special liveries. And that one.
Do we have that for one more race? Were you saying 3 races when we talked about it last week?
It might be Qatar? Qatar or Qatar?
I always said Qatar.
Qatar. Which they keep having, I've said this before, they keep showing commercials for it on ABC all the time. Why are you showing me commercials for that race and not the 2 U.S. races coming up? Why are you trying to advertise for me to go to Qatar?
I saw commercials for Miami I remember seeing commercials for Miami on ESPN.
Miami, but no, this isn't even for the coverage. It's to go there.
Oh, what?
But like, why? Like, I would think like tourism would be more for Vegas than Qatar, but that's just me.
Yeah. Also, you're pumping commercials out the week before the race.
I've seen these. No, I've seen these. I've seen these commercials for a really long time.
Oh, okay.
Like, I'll be like half asleep on the couch, and all of a sudden I'll hear the commercial, and I'll hear the cars, and I'm like, I know what commercial that is. But yes, we need to talk about, before we go into anything else, did you see about the construction worker that died in Las Vegas setting up for the Grand Prix?
No.
Yeah. He died. It says a construction worker died while setting up for the Las Vegas Grand Prix. He suffered a major laceration to the neck while working at the Bellagio fountains on the Las Vegas Strip Saturday morning. So they were doing work to get ready for the Grand Prix, and he literally got cut in the neck and died.
Holy shit.
There's so much negative press about them getting this race set up than there is good. First, that. But first you have them saying we're going to remove the trees and put them back. They just cut them down. Sebastian Vettel would not be happy. And now you have this worker that's passed away. Yeah.
That's not good.
No. Vegas is not looking good.
Oh my God. That's so sad.
Especially because Vegas is, I think, run and set up by Liberty Media. Like, it's set up by F1. And it's not good with how it's been going. So, yeah. Not to give some sad news, but I did want to mention that. But yes, it says Alex Albon had damage from the start crash.
Oh, that's
in the back.
Yeah.
So it says the damage from lap 1 severely affected the Williams race car, rendering further participation impossible. But he kept going for a really long time.
Yeah.
Because Logan DNF'd before him.
Mm-hmm.
It was like what they did with Carlos that one race. And someone else they kept.
How many laps
did Alex
Albon did 26 laps out of the 53. So he made it like halfway through.
Yeah, but when did Logan Sargent? Logan Sargent was pretty,
Logan Sargent did 22.
Oh, okay. So for some reason I thought there was for some reason I thought there was a lot of distance. But it was like the story of this race was not finishing.
Yeah.
Because you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
5 DNFs. Bottas, Perez, Stroll, Sargent, Albon. That's a
hmm
lot of people DNFing.
That's what people were like. People were like, every time someone goes into the pit lane, I just watch the timing table to be like, are they coming back out?
You didn't
Like,
know if they were coming back out. Yeah.
no. And they never even mentioned Alex DNFing on their TV. DNFing. They never even mentioned
DNFing.
Alex.
Yeah.
It's a new verb. Retiring on the TV coverage. I just kept I was staring at the timing board and I was like, he's been in there for far too long to just be a normal pit stop. So I was like, he must be not coming back out. But yes. I also saw, wait, where is it? Someone sent that in the, there's like a, what's it called? There's a chart out of who the most damage. Did you see that today?
Who
It
did the
literally
most
came out
damage to
yesterday
their
and today.
cars?
Like, cost-wise.
Oh my god.
It's the one
What a way-
championship
what a way to-
Max is not leading.
Well, yeah. What a way to kick them while they're down.
But,
Says,
yeah,
by the
because
way,
Logan...
you did the most damage to your car this race.
well,
You've
because
done the
Logan's...
most damage to your car this league. Or this year.
The one picture I wanted to... what's it called? The one meme I wanted to show was... You remember last year when Latifi made it through... When he, like, qualified first in Q1 or something, or a practice, he was, like, first.
Yeah.
And it was, like, the goat shadow behind.
Yeah.
Someone photoshopped the Latifi shadow with Logan Sargent.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I was like, oh, I mean, at this point, he seems like he's crashing more than...
He's
more
definitely
than
on that
Latifi
level.
ever did. Yeah.
He's definitely on that level.
Hold on. Cots. Sorry, I wanted to look up. Because I don't remember who posted it. I literally saw it like 4 times. Okay, never mind. But yeah, it was Logan Sargent. Perez was up there. Carlos was up there. Yeah, I mean, who you think? Lance was up there. But Logan was number 1. With like a lot of money. And it makes you think like Williams doesn't have that much money to begin with. So how...
Yeah. He's definitely not helping their budgeting team.
No. But yes, that was Williams. Nothing really noticeable, obviously, besides them retiring. Haas. Talk about Haas. K-Mag. Hulkenberg, I didn't really notice. I didn't... Yeah, that was freaking hilarious. I could have done a meme from that, too.
Yeah. The best was I was listening to F1 Nation, their review of the race, and they talked to Christian Horner and somebody else from Red Bull, and I can't remember the name, but both of them were like, oh yeah, that attempt to overtake K-Mag by Perez, that was a little too optimistic. Like, they were like,
way
he probably
too optimistic.
shouldn't have done that. And then
it was like...
I remember watching the replay of him trying to cut the corner and like dive into the turn and brake later, and I was like, yeah, you're not getting that. Like,
no.
You just knew as soon as he started braking a little bit later, I was like, you're not getting that. Like,
it was like how when Charles Leclerc overtook George Russell, that's what Checo thought he was doing with K-Mag, because Charles Leclerc went so close but never touched George Russell. I'm like,
never.
Checo, you've been in this sport much longer than Charles Leclerc. You should know. But it's literally the way Checo or K-Mag spun and then facing each other. I saw a meme. Someone was like, should we kiss now? Or it was, you're probably wondering how I got here. Let me tell you. Because it was so funny. I mean, but other than that, K-Mag, they both finished Haas. They didn't DNF, so.
Yeah. I mean, they did better than Red Bull then. Like.
Yeah, Perez was just out there trying to play bumper cars.
He was just trying too hard. That was the issue, you know.
Right, and Checo, you didn't need to place that well. Clearly, you guys were winning the constructors no matter what. But what are you doing? What are you doing?
What are you doing?
Haas.
That was honestly that was it for Haas.
That was it.
That was the only
because
thing.
Where did they? Should
they
just
finished
stop.
14th and 15th. They
Yeah.
both
and
finished
in last.
Yeah.
Because, there was that many cars at DNF.
Yeah. 14th and 15th. They finished at the bottom of the leaderboard.
I think they said...
Come on, Haas.
I think they said on TV that Kevin Magnussen, they were like, he did a 360, and they're like, no, he did like a 5... Like, he spun around like twice.
He spun a good amount, yeah. I do remember watching him, and somebody said, like, oh, he's doing like a 540 or something, and I was like, oh, yeah, he spun a lot. Like...
But he survived. He just turned around. Just pirouetted the other way. Wait, going back to when Logan went into Valtteri Bottas, the TV caught the end of Bottas going into the gravel, like when they first showed it. And I was like, Valtteri, what are you doing? But then they played his radio, and he was like, what the hell? Or he was like, what the fuck? And then they showed it, and the TV was like, oh, he got hit. That's why.
You got nailed. Like,
because it wasn't even like it was an area for him to like run off, and that's why they were like, "What, Valtteri? What are you doing?" But yes. Besides, nothing really from Haas. Besides, I like in the notes. Do you see? I couldn't remember who hit Valtteri.
Yeah, I was wondering what that was. It was like Bottas contact with blank. It's like
I couldn't remember who he had contact with. Logan Sargent. But yes. Nothing really with Joe. He finished 13th. Yeah, nothing really.
Yeah.
Alpha really like skates by. The only time I feel like we really talked about them is when they had the cool livery, and they're not very memorable. I have to say.
Stay under the radar, you know.
Yes. But yes, nothing with them. Aston Martin, again, nothing really. Nothing really with them either. They weren't noticeable.
No, I mean, they finished. Let's see. Fernando finished 8th, and
Stroll DNF
didn't. So,
shocker.
Yeah, nothing really to talk about there. That's pretty par for the course for them right now. You know,
like between Logan Sargent and Lance Stroll, it's like, you know, when you can do like an anytime touchdown on like a bet or something. It's just like anytime, like they're guaranteed to crash or retire out of a race.
Anytime DNF, Lance Stroll or Logan Sargent. That's a solid bet you can place. Like,
and you'll win something.
Yeah. It might be like 5 cents because the odds are so in your favor, but like you'll win something.
Still. Yeah. But yeah, obviously nothing else with Aston. They've really fallen off.
Yeah.
It's kind of sad. Let me pull up those the standings. Alpine, before we get into the top 4. They weren't noticeable either until you saw the end. Where they made, Alpine. They both finished. Esteban Ocon did not retire. He was the one driver that did not, which we all think he is going to retire. Yes, I didn't understand why they let Esteban Ocon through at the end. And Gasly did not either.
Apparently not. He seemed pretty annoyed about it.
Did you see the video from like his car? He was talking to someone.
I'd love to
he's
be the
French.
I could hear that. You know?
Yeah, Pierre Gasly's French. We all know that, but he looked like he was full blown Italian at that point because the way he was talking with his hands. Yeah. So it says Gasly been running 9th towards the end of the race after earlier been given the green light to pass his teammate. However, when it came clear, they wanted him to chase down Fernando Alonso for 8th. It says, however, when it became clear he was unable to do that, he was asked by Alpine to let Ocon through on the final lap. Gasly obliged and allowed his teammate to pass in the final corner on the final lap, but his onboard camera showed him to be visibly frustrated as he waved his hands in the cockpit. His quote from post-race media said, just a bit frustrated because we needed to swap positions in the last lap. I don't fully understand it. I don't really see the need, but we will talk internally. That's one team that was fighting with each other.
but I like Ocon's response kind of like adds to it as well. Because he says, after being told of Gasly's frustrations, Ocon said, well, I've been with this team for 4 years, and the rule has always been the same, that if you swap the position initially, which I did to Pierre, I gave him the position. If you don't get the car in front, then you always switch back before the end. So it sounds like Ocon was like, I was in front of him. We thought that
Mhm.
Gasly had the pace to catch
Fernando.
Alonso in 8th. He didn't, so now it's like, okay, now I got to swap back. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
That's Ocon being like, I've been with this French team for years
Yeah.
when they were Renault. So, like, don't question.
Don't question team
The
strategy.
strategy.
Is basically what he's saying. But I understand why Pierre's upset. I mean, harkens back
me
to,
too.
Drive to Survive, where they're like, oh, every single driver here is selfish to some degree. And it's like, I want the most points. And it's like, yeah, of course. But
it's a team sport, but it's more of an individual sport. It is 100% more of an individual sport.
But I do agree with Gasly's, I agree with what Ocon's saying too, of like, we thought he had the pace. He didn't. And I gave him the position to try and get him. He did not get him. So we swap back. We make it like it never happened. Like,
because
I agree.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Because then they finished 9th and 10th. They finished in the points. So, like...
Right.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I agree. Why does this have... Oh, that's Liam Lawson. They were lapped. I was like, why does it say +1 lap? Because they were lapped.
Yeah.
But yes, moving on to the top 4, who most had... Also were fighting within the teams. Ferrari, not until after. We can start with Ferrari, because...
Well, I was going to say,
for once...
British boys.
No, because there's more to it. With Ferrari, for once, I don't have anything to say negative about the race. It was a clean race. It was a clean pit stops for both drivers. They did well. Charles Leclerc wasn't screwed over. Carlos Sainz, you were not sacrificed.
Yeah, I don't...
So that was really the main thing with Ferrari. The race is fine. Everything's going well. I'm literally getting ready to go to sleep. And I see Twitter is freaking out. And I was like, oh God, what did Carlos Sainz say?
Now?
Like, I literally knew it was Carlos Sainz. I'm like, what did he say? So he comes out with this quote right away saying, I'm happy with my race pace after a difficult day yesterday. It's a shame about the last stop, which cost me the position. In the end, they made the stop with Charles to secure the position while I was sacrificed a bit, which was not the truth. So they were trying to pit him so he wouldn't get undercut by Hamilton.
Right.
Didn't work out. He was undercut by Hamilton. You heard his radio saying we were undercut. Then comes out after, Fred comes with the receipts and says, Carlos made the decision. He said, no, I want to stay out.
Right.
Which then caused him to pit late, which then caused him to get undercut, which then he was behind both Mercedes. He had no chance of catching Charles Leclerc. Charles Leclerc was literally in 4th by himself. Like, he was not catching Charles Leclerc.
He dug his own grave, and it sounded like he just wasn't happy about that. Like,
no, he wasn't happy about it. He wasn't happy about it because he was quote-unquote sacrificed. He literally used Charles Leclerc and George Russell watching the race in Singapore last week. He thought that he was being sacrificed. He was not. But I just love that Fred was like, no, that was his call. Like, it was not. Fred was like, absolutely not. Don't blame this on us. It just goes to show that, again, contract talks aren't going well.
That makes his one radio message so much more, like, gives so much more context to it. Because I remember him coming out of the pit lane behind the Mercedes, and he pops on for a radio message and says, so I guess we were undercut? And they go, yeah we were. And
because he asked to stay back.
That was weird. Like,
stay out. Mm-hmm. No, Fred Lee was like, no, that was his decision. Like, you're not blaming this on us. Yeah, he wanted to stay out. He did. And then got undercut. And then wanted to know why Hamilton was going faster.
Yeah.
Because, like, you stayed out farther. But yeah, besides that, Ferrari, good job.
Wow. Ferrari, good job from Casey. No complaints. No nothing.
No. Just about the usual.
Just complaining about Carlos Sainz.
He just keeps digging that grave.
Par for the course.
farther and farther and farther into the ground.
Yeah, he does.
And it wasn't even like his family was there. They weren't. So it wasn't his mom or dad making those comments. It was him.
Yeah.
But yeah. Yeah. I do want to talk about Charles Leclerc because he got his 1,000th point in Formula 1.
Oh, that's right. I did see that, yeah.
They put that, yeah. So,
I did see that
I think
that today.
there was 964 points have been with Ferrari, which is wild and also makes you think how much more could he have if he was in a good car, if he didn't have strategies that were messed up on him, if he didn't have issues with his car where he had to retire.
Yeah.
Like,
does make
he
you think
would have
how much earlier would he have gotten this achievement with all this stuff, you know?
Like, it just, it makes you like, you probably would have like double the points, or like you would have hit 1,000 points last year at the beginning of this season. So yeah, people keep posting that there's 6 more races with this year's car, and then it can. Mattia Binotto's last piece of information is gone. He's
out the
gone.
Window. Out the window.
But yeah, other than that, good job, Charles Leclerc side of the garage.
Wow.
I'll leave it with that. But yes, from one team that was fighting to another team that was fighting, Mercedes. I posted when Toto Wolff is away. Oh, I literally put when Dad's away, and in parentheses, Toto, the boys will fight. Because
Where was he?
He was having surgery on his knee.
That's
He's
right.
just falling apart, this man. This man thinks he can do, like, exotic, like, extreme sports, and then he breaks his arm, and then has to get surgery on his knee.
Good work, Toto.
So I'll go into it, because they were just fighting. They were fighting from the beginning of the race. They were battling each other.
Yeah, because there was at one point, was it Hamilton? Hamilton was behind Russell, I think.
Yes, that's the part of the video that I didn't plan it on purpose. The lyric says something about doing something illegal, and it's when George Russell pushes Hamilton off the track, so Hamilton can't get in front, and then he has to give a position back.
It was a mess from them. Like, like I'd be pissed if I'm Toto Wolff laying in my recovery bed watching this race, and I'm seeing this happen. I'd be like, what the fuck are these two guys doing? Like,
what are they doing? Yeah. Toto was ready to sign out of the hospital on his own. Yeah. Which I did see. So it really, most of it came at the end when Hamilton was supposed to get in front of George. George was fighting it. Hold on, because I retweeted it. Someone literally put the timestamps of the last few minutes in this radio message. So this goes from, I guess this is 1 hour. Yeah, this is 1 hour and 29 minutes. And then the end is 1 hour and 32 minutes, okay? I'm not going to read every timestamp. I'm not going to read everything. So it's like the radio message back and forth between George Russell and his engineer. So it says, Marcus will invert positions. Russell, he pretends to not hear. It says, repeat. Marcus says, okay, we'll invert positions. Russell, why can't we invert on the last lap? He just keeps the DRS like last week. Let's keep fighting for a bigger result. They wanted to do Carlos Sainz's strategy from last week, which Carlos Sainz saw and was like, they're trying to do what I did. It didn't work. No. Then Marcus comes back, so it's an instruction, George. Someone posted a meme of Toto Wolff on the operating table with his phone out and is typing, George, this is Toto.
George, you better listen.
Yeah. Then Russell goes, yeah, copy. I'll do it on the main straight when I have DRS. And then Russell says, he's got new tires. Is he able to overtake me? Marcus says, so this is an instruction. We will invert. Russell, at an hour 32 and 53 seconds. Yes, I hear you. An hour 32 and 55 seconds. He's not even close to me. An hour and 32 minutes, 55 seconds. Hamilton passes Russell. So at the same time, Russell's like, he's not even close. Hamilton's passing him. Yeah.
Nice.
So yes, Mercedes boys were not happy with each other.
Trouble in Mercedes paradise this weekend.
Yes. But besides that, I mean, they had a good finish. So, like, it's not...
Yeah, there's nothing to, like, be super upset about, but...
They finished...
I don't think there needs to be that much fighting between... I hope the fighting doesn't stay between the two of them. I mean, those two have always kind of felt like very good when it comes to working together and following team orders and everything. So I hope it doesn't stay like this, for the last...
Well, I saw people saying George Russell's probably the first teammate Hamilton's had that probably since Nico Rosberg that doesn't want to be his teammate. Like, Valtteri Bottas played the team role very well for all those years. Like, he knew what his job was. But George Russell's probably the first person to question it almost every race. So it's something new for... but, I mean, once Hamilton passed Russell, Carlos Sainz overtook Russell pretty quickly after. So Russell was also on the old tires. Did he do a one-stop, or did he end up doing a two-stop?
No, I think he ended up doing a two-stop, but he did go for a long stint on one of the sets. So
he
was at one point struggling on old tires, Yeah,
okay. And then did you see, someone sent it in the group chat, I wanted to talk about this. So there was a post-race interview, and Hamilton looks like he's drinking a cocktail.
Oh, yes.
And he literally takes a sip. This is how he did not care what happened. He didn't care about what George Russell was doing in the race. Hamilton takes a sip of the cocktail and goes, "Ooh, this is good," in the middle of his post-race interview. But apparently before that, wherever he was standing, there was a QR code behind him to order a drink. So people were immediately scanning the QR code to order Hamilton a Red Bull. And I think it might have worked. So I don't know if he was drinking the Red Bull or if he was actually drinking a cocktail.
This is just so good because it's like
so good.
It just I have that I would have that exact thought too if I'm watching TV and I see a QR code behind one of the drivers in an interview. I'm like, I'm scanning that. Like what? Like what is that? And it's like all of a sudden then it's like order a drink, and it's like oh yeah, absolutely. Like I'm gonna send the drink to Lewis. Like
it literally says personalize your drink.
Yeah. Like that to me is hilarious though, but that makes so much sense. And it's also like it's one of the weakest parts of a QR code is that aspect right there. But
if you can see it, you're gonna be able to
too.
Yeah.
Like,
so that's what if you see the clip of Hamilton drinking, it looks like a Red Bull because Red Bull's got like that weird sound gross. Like pea color, like when you're dehydrated. And that's what it looks like he's drinking. So
maybe he was
Lewis Hamilton. What are you drinking?
He was having a vodka Red Bull. Little VRB action.
No, people were saying it could have been like a Japanese like whiskey. Did you also see he went to, I don't know if he went to Nintendo World. I think he did. Did you see him dressed as Toad? Lewis Hamilton?
No. What?
He went to Nintendo World. So there was this picture that came out before the weekend when they were in Japan for like a few days. It was like someone saw him in like the store and he's wearing the Toad head with like a matching sweater. So good. And then he posted his like photo dump today, and he literally go to his Instagram and you'll see him dressed as Toad.
Put it in there.
I don't know if he put that one in there, but you see his outfit and the head that he wore. People said between that, while you're looking it up, he might have had the sickest helmet ever. Are you looking at him as Toad?
His helmet was fucking awesome this week.
So good. I wish he could have kept in that light up part of the visor.
It really reminded me of a Daft Punk helmet. Daft Punk,
exactly.
Like electronic duo. When you sent me it or I saw it on Twitter, I was like, holy shit, this is cool. Like,
no, I think they might have even said that on the TV coverage. Someone might have said that like reminded them of a Daft Punk, but it was the pictures that went with it.
Yeah.
It was the whole chrome look. It was great. It was beautiful.
Fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, Lewis Hamilton is a cool dude, so I don't expect him to not have
You heard it here first, people. Lewis
He's a
Hamilton's
cool dude.
cool guy.
The dude that's been knighted by the English royal family.
Yeah,
He is Sir Lewis Hamilton. He's a cool dude.
what a cool guy.
I'm gonna tag him in that also. But yes, nothing else really with the Mercedes boys. Just decided they were hating life. You want to do your double podium before we get into Red
boys.
Bull?
My boys.
I was so excited for them.
I was so happy watching it. All I could think about too because at that time I was a mix of tiredness and a mix of like, holy shit, I hope nothing happens like what happened to George Russell last week. I hope nothing like that happens to them this week. And I just like was just like, I hope Mrs. Piastri is okay. Like I hope she's doing all right. You know,
because
like
that start, they literally came back from the formation lap, and I think Crofty was like, Oscar Piastri is totally angled one way, and Max Verstappen is angled the exact same way, so they're gonna go right into each other.
I went, like I said earlier, I was listening to F1 Nation, and they interviewed Max for a little bit, and he actually said something really funny. He was like, when we started the race, he goes, it was really good, but he was like, hold on, let me think for a second. He goes, I looked to my right. He goes, and I saw Piastri gaining on me. I looked to my left, and I saw Lando gaining on me. And he goes, and I looked to my right, and Piastri was still right there. He goes, look to my left, Lando's still right there. I was like,
and then Lando got ahead.
yeah, I was like, it was such a good start, and I was like, I was just so happy that the way they started the race was where they ended it, because it was a clean, constant race from them. And I was scared every time they came up on the radio and they were like, box, and everything. I was just like, fuck, please don't mess this up.
Don't mess it up.
And it was like every pit stop that they got out that was successful and everything. I was like, yes, like this is good. Like they're having a clean race. And then, yeah, it was that last 10 laps. I was like, I'm so tired, but I'm so hooked on this.
You couldn't miss it.
Yeah, I was like, I want to watch this because I want to see Oscar's first podium. And it was like fucking amazing. First of all, the dude is 16 races into his very first Formula One season.
First time he's ever driven at Suzuka.
Yeah.
Ever.
And he's on the podium. And he like,
yeah.
And it's like, it makes so much sense. And it's like, he's paying off all the hype that people have had around him of just like, how many times we've talked where like, he's so good. He's like, it's going to be fantastic. Like all this stuff. And it's just like, this was just like a tiny bit of that. It was just like, I'm going to fucking prove it right here. And it's like, yeah, sure. Like he didn't win. He got third, but like still like that's a double podium for McLaren. I can't even say what that means for the team, for the constructor standings, you know, like,
I have it. They're closer.
It's wild. Like that was,
so they have 172 points now, McLaren.
172.
And Aston Martin has 221.
Oh, they're catching them. They're easily catching them. If the paths continue the way they are going right now for both of those teams, McLaren is going to jump them. And
oh, absolutely.
I'm so excited for it. And like, we know we're not getting Lando or Oscar on. You would think we're not getting Lando or Oscar on number one spot for a race, right? You got to think that even though Max has won, and even though Max probably will win in Qatar for the Drivers' Championship, he's still going to finish first in all the races because the dude just doesn't stop. But like that was the best result McLaren could have hoped for out of that situation, and they got it. And it's like, oh, like please just do it again. Like I want more of that. Like
no, and Oscar's win is coming. Both of their win is coming. Like,
yeah, it's so good for Oscar. It's so good for Lando as well. And like we texted about it, but we were like, that was the calmest reaction from a rookie getting on podium.
Always. I knew it was going to be because he's so calm.
And he literally like, I heard it again today and he was just like, yeah, everyone, thanks. Like good work. Like, oh, P3, like that's great. Like, you know, had a blast, nice clean race. Cool. And I was like, dude, I would be like screaming. Like, I'd be like,
Right. Lando would have been screaming.
Like, yeah, let's fucking go. P3, baby. Like, that's how it's fucking done. Like, all his stuff. And he's just like, yeah, go work, everyone. Like, you're like, dude, show a little more excitement. But, like,
that's how you know he's good.
Like,
yeah. No, he definitely looked happy. He looked so happy up there on the podium. And did you see there's a clip from the McLaren crew, like, standing in the crowd, and you see Oscar's race engineer, like, total proud dad, turns around and, like, takes a selfie, and then people are like, look at him take a selfie, and he tweeted, he was like, the selfie in question, and he looks so proud. You just see Oscar up on the podium.
Good. That's
no,
really
but the best
good.
was his mom, Nicole Piastri. I'm sorry, she takes the crown for the moms of F1. She's so good. She's so funny. She immediately posts about after his qualifying. She's like, anyone got like a private jet or something to go
like cheap
to
flight to Japan? Yeah,
cheap flights. People were in the comments like, "Ma'am, you're in Australia. You can swim."
Fucking literally, Jesus.
But then it blew up so fast that they were interviewing Zach Brown during the post-qualifying show, and they brought it up, and Zach Brown was like, I mean, if she wants a ticket, I will get her on a plane. But then she was
I hope so.
But in any, like, mom fashion, this would be our mom. She was like, no, it's okay. I don't think my stress could handle watching it in person.
That is, honestly, and too, yeah, that's such a mom answer of just like, haha, somebody want to bring me? And then somebody's like, no, I'll literally bring you over if you want to come down. She's like, no.
And then she's like, no.
Can't do that. Like,
literally the start, though, I was like, I'm not thinking of anyone but Nicole Piastri, because I was like, this start is going to, like, I was holding my breath. But yeah, no. Shout out to the McLaren boys. I was definitely happy for them. It is very exciting. Honest. I literally posted during the podium because Christian Horner went up there because obviously Red Bull won the constructors.
Yeah.
I literally was waiting for a dad to make a comment about the Monday Night Football theme song.
I just saw it pop up.
It's because it's his favorite song on the planet.
I was a little disappointed when it was going to be in the air tonight with a country singer as well.
No, Chris Stapleton is beautiful. He's the guy that sang the national anthem at the Super Bowl. He's so good.
Still country. I'd rather that turn into like a more like heavy rock song than like a.
Well, because he would do rock and roll, but I think it's Snoop also.
It is Snoop Dogg as well. Yeah.
But what was I saying? When Christian Horner was up on the podium, I said, look, Christian Horner's up there with all of his favorite drivers. It's the two drivers he wishes he's had in Red Bull. McLaren was great. They posted that old photo of Oscar in front of the Red Bull factory when he was younger. Like, look, we meet again. Like, all this stuff. No, they just looked so happy. I hope Zach Brown doesn't let go. I hope he doesn't screw it up with those two, because he is a good driver pair for a very long time.
Yeah, I know we've talked multiple times about, like, get Lando in a Red Bull, put these two guys in a Red Bull as soon as you can, stuff like that, just because of how fast and dominant the Red Bulls are. But at the same time, yes, I 100% agree. If Zach Brown doesn't do everything in his power to keep those two drivers there for as long as he can, he's a fool, you know?
Yeah, he is a fool. He is 100% a fool. But yes, and you were right. The game is starting right now. So we have one more team to talk about.
We don't need to talk about them.
No, we do.
We already know what they did and how good they are and everything. And
I don't even need to talk about them winning the constructors. I need to talk about Perez retiring twice.
Yeah, that was what a weird situation. And like I saw a bunch of people saying, like, people were calling it out, and it's because it's Red Bull, and people will do this when, you know, there's a dominant force in the sport and everything. They're like, oh, you want to, like, no way the stewards will let that happen with any other team, but because it's Red Bull, like, they can do it. And I was like, this is a really weird situation to be like, hey, we DNF'd, but now we're going to send him back in,
so
and then we're going to retire the car again. But then I also, don't want to sound like a broken record, but again, on like F1 Nation, they talked to Christian Horner today, and they were like, "What happened with that?" And they were like, "Our engineers fixed the car. Like they were able to fix the car and get it working." And they were like, "We'd rather have him go back out there and serve the penalty, and then instead of serving it next race, kind of like what we were talking about with Logan Sargent, it's like maybe get a grid place penalty." And he was like, it sounded too like Red Bull wasn't even sure if they could do that. Like they said, like they asked the stewards, and the stewards were like, yeah. Like,
but I did see that apparently they are going to look at that rule again for future, because if that could happen all the time. And then could you imagine if Checo went back out there and caused a red flag?
Oh yeah. If something came out of him getting back onto the track after like retiring or something, or if regardless like where he is, the rule will be banned. Like it'll turn into once you're retired, you're retired. Like
people were like, I saw a tweet saying that Felipe Massa was like, wait, so you mean I can get back into my car from 2008 and finish the DNF, the one when he was gypped of the championship?
Like, hop back in, Felipe.
He's like, wait, I'll be right there. It was strange too, because literally every announcer was like, is he getting back in the car? It was literally like a good 10 laps. No one believed it. And then he went out there for literally 2 laps and came back in and finished. But I did see they're not doing it anymore. And then I also saw that they waited so long because they wanted to make sure there would be no safety car that would mess up Max. So they waited so long, and then finally, like, okay, you can go. And they went out and did what they needed to do. But yes, obviously they won. I mean, Max won the World Constructors Championship for Red Bull.
It really, this is kind of what I wanted to talk about too with my meme earlier and everything. I don't know if it's a metaphor. I think it's symbolism, but the symbolism of just Max winning this race and Perez retiring twice in a race, right?
It's literally Red Bull's season in a nutshell.
It's a microcosm of the season. It's just like Perez was in there at first, like helped out a little bit, and then he was done. And it's just
immediately caused damage.
It was all Max, and it was just like, what? Like it was the perfect microcosm and symbolism for this entire season for Red Bull. That it has literally, and I know I said it before, but it's literally Max just picked up the entire organization, threw it over his back, and fucking walked them to the finish line. And it's like,
he has to be sore.
And it's like, there's not much you can do about it. But I thought it was so comical, and all the memes coming out of it too, where they were like, it was like, what is it? Red Bull DNF twice in this race, and someone goes, so Max didn't win, right? And it was just like, right? like,
no.
It's just, God, they defy all like expectations and like understanding of the sport, because it is. It's like, oh, Red Bull didn't like retired a car twice, or like Red Bull retired twice, and they're like, oh, so Max didn't win, right? And they're like,
nope.
What do you mean? Like,
that's what I literally put if I had a nickel for every time Checo DNF'd, I would have 2 nickels. It's strange that it happened. But I have 2 nickels. Yeah. Also, did you see the video of him before the race, of him doing his warm-up on Checo? The side of the... Yes.
No.
Oh my god, he's doing like this weird like run in place, but like warming up his back at the same time, going back and forth. It's so funny. People were like, Checo getting ready to terrorize the entire grid at the start. I retweeted it with that Dak Prescott one where he's doing that like twist and hit things. It was giving the same weird, thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Checo, nice try. I don't even think he should get like the prize money from the World Constructors, because he had no hand in that. Like you're mean.
Literally, I'm like trying to think of a good analogy for it, but it's literally like it's a group project, and he just slapped his name on it. That's it.
At the last minute. Or not even the last minute, like he started off strong and then just like didn't finish.
He did the title slide and the question slide during the group presentation. That's what he did. Literally, is like, hey, this is our presentation, how to win everything in one season. And then at the end, he was like, anybody questions? Like,
Yeah. Max did all the heavy lifting. I also saw so people, because they kept saying like it was Max's revenge, like all this stuff, like after last week, after Singapore. I was like, come on, people. Someone's like, that Singapore was just their one-off. Someone's like, I then saw someone say, do you think Red Bull did it on purpose? And I thought about it. I said, do you think Red Bull was like, it's okay, we won't, like, Singapore's whatever. There was obviously records to be beaten for like the perfect season, but then they could win it in Honda's home country with a Honda powered engine.
I mean,
it's
I think
hard
there's merit there, but like
because it's also like Max isn't someone that would like think like that. I don't think so. That's where I don't believe it, but
no, that's where it loses me. I cannot see Max willingly being like, I'll give up my record run right now for winning races.
Yeah.
So that way we can win it at a Honda owned
with Honda
circuit and everything with Honda engines in our car. I could see Max looking at that and be like, "That's the biggest load of horse shit I've ever heard in my life." And then like,
Max probably like to watch me.
Yeah, like,
no. That was the one I saw, and I like thought about it for a little bit, but then I was like, Max would never.
Yeah, Max definitely would never let that happen.
No. But I did see this kind of foreshadowing next week. He can win during the sprint race next week. Not even the feature race. He can win during the sprint race. And there's this like account that like tracks his private jet. It's a little creepy, but like we'll be like, oh, Max Verstappen's private jet just took off. So someone literally said if that account tweets that he left after the sprint race because he's done, he won it all, I wouldn't be surprised.
Could you imagine it's like Saturday and it's like Max Verstappen Jets goes back to, and you're like,
Monaco.
Hey, she's got a race. She's got a race to drive. Like,
no. It's because he can win during the sprint race. So, but I was like, oh, okay. But yes, I don't think you have anything else from.
No, I am just, happy for the McLaren boys. Happy that it happened for Oscar Piastri.
In that stealth livery.
Yeah. Let's keep it going.
Maybe they shouldn't get rid of the stealth livery.
No, they absolutely should not get rid of the stealth livery. Absolutely should not get rid of it.
Oh, yeah, AJ Brown, you do it for my fantasy football league.
He got 8 yards. It's
more than he's had recently.
He's got some bright cleats on.
Yeah, he does. But yes, nothing else to really talk about. Like we said, we weren't going to do anything else besides recap. But we'll be back next week. We will preview Qatar. Maybe we haven't done history with Owen in a while.
No, we have not.
We could do history with Owen.
History with Owen in a while.
No conspiracies with Casey this episode. Which I appreciate Kyle photoshopping a tin hat on me.
I love that. That made me so happy.
But yes, we will be back next week. Do you want to update? I updated the thread number.
Close us out.
Also, if you notice the difference, if you were following along via Threads and following along via X, did you notice a difference in the posting? You did good. I went back and looked. I just post nonstop, I feel like sometimes, but
don't do that to me. Yeah, I had to turn off the thread notifications on my phone because we were getting so many likes and everything, which is fantastic. I love that we're getting, engagement.
I love our friends on Threads. I love them.
I'm so happy that we're getting engagement, but I was like every couple minutes my phone would be buzzing and I'm like, I gotta turn these notifications off.
Yeah. Sorry. Don't come for my friends on Threads.
I won't.
But yes. You want to close this out?
I will close this out. All right. All right. Well, thank you for listening tonight. Thank you for putting up with our. I don't even know what I was going to say. Our love fest for McLaren tonight. Mm-hmm. That's pretty much
appreciation.
What it was. Yeah.
Admitting that Ferrari did a good job.
Yeah. And committing Casey's final admittance of Ferrari actually doing a decent job for Charles.
Charles.
Please go give us a follow over at F1 Underground F1 on Instagram. And like Casey mentioned, Threads. You can go join the happy crew over there that continues blowing up my phone and keeps my watch vibrating all day, every day.
All the time.
Yeah. Like I said, it's great. We love it. We love to hear from you guys. It makes us so happy. And it's fantastic to know that we can engage with people and talk with others and everything and talk about F1 with other people. Go follow us on Twitter, where you can catch my boring tweeting.
No, it wasn't boring. You also had engagements. You had a decent amount of likes throughout the race.
I had a couple likes.
You.
So that is a different handle, though. That is underground_F1. Again, that's on Twitter. So please go follow us over there. If you have any questions or want us to talk about anything on the show, please don't be afraid to reach out on Twitter or Threads, or shoot us an email at undergroundf1pod@gmail.com. Again, that's undergroundf1pod@gmail.com. Please also leave a review wherever you listen to your shows, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Overcast. I'm just rambling a couple off my head. That's the main way that the show can grow. We'd love to hear from you guys. We'd love to know what you think of the show. We'd love to know your comments and your thoughts and everything. So please go leave us a review there. It'd be great to hear from everybody. And please go give a subscribe to our main YouTube page. That is Underground Sports Philadelphia. That's where you get full video episodes of this podcast and other podcasts. You get Underground Sports Philadelphia there, Streamer Season, Getting the Hole, Top Bins. There's a bunch of others too that I'm blanking on right now. Great group of guys and everything. All the hosts within that podcast. It's a fantastic network. Where Casey and I are so happy to be a part of it. They're trying to reach 600 subscribers as soon as possible, as well as 1,000. But 600 right now is the immediate goal. We're currently sitting at 553. So we're close. We're 47 away.
We're halfway there. Cube Bon Jovi.
Yeah. Okay. I was gonna sing, but that would not be well.
Need a soundboard.
Yeah. Should get a soundboard.
Oh no.
So yeah, please go give them a follow. Like I said, full video episodes of this podcast and other podcasts on our network. All great shows, all great guys, all great hosts. Thanks so much again for listening today. Like Casey said, we will see you next week with our preview of Qatar or Qatar. We don't know how to pronounce it, so
don't judge.
Yeah.
Goodbye, everyone. See you
Peace.
next week.